We are tracking the shooting at a school in the U.S. state of Minneapolis that left 2 children dead and 17 others injured. The FBI says it is being investigated as an anti-Catholic hate crime. But this was made known on a post on X by the FBI Director Kash Patel. We have more details in this report.
An attacker opened fire through the windows of the Annunciation Church in Minneapolis yesterday as children were celebrating Mass. 2 children, aged 8 and 10, were killed. The attacker, who died at the scene of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, was later named by the police as 23-year-old Robin Westman. According to investigations, the attacker approached the side of the church, which also houses a school, and fired dozens of shots through the windows using 3 firearms, a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. Police reportedly found a smoke bomb at the scene. Officials are now investigating if the suspect shot inside the building or if all the shots came from outside the church. That's because no casings from bullets were found inside. Police Chief Brian O'Hara told journalists that the act of violence carried out against innocent children and other persons worshipping was deliberate. According to him, the sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible. He added that the Minneapolis Police Department is leading the investigation with support from federal agencies, and they will pursue evidence wherever it leads them.
We know this community is reeling and is in pain. I want to ensure everyone in our community, this parish, all of the families affected, and all of our residents, that all of law enforcement collectively, local law enforcement, our county, our state, and all of our federal law enforcement partners have been here, and we are all working tirelessly to uncover the full scope of what happened, to try and identify a motive why it happened, and whether there are any other further details.
A nearby Level 1 trauma center, Hennepin Healthcare, received 11 patients from the shooting. And according to the chairman of the emergency medicine unit, 9 of them are children and 2 adults. 6 children and 1 adult were in critical condition, and 4 required an operating room.
Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship. This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy.
As of yet, no suspected motive for the attack has been stated. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is now asking the people to condole with the grieving families of the victims. Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope, is among those who have paid tribute to the young victims. He says he is profoundly saddened by the attack.
Tragedy that should never happen.
Well, to discuss this shooting and the level of security challenge in some American schools, global affairs analyst Ejike Okpa joins me from Dallas in Texas. Good to have you join us, Mr. Okpa. It's quite heartbreaking to learn that innocent school children who are gathered to learn are shot dead. What do you make of this latest attack? The Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis said to be the 44th school shooting in the U.S. this year.
You know, when things like this happen, it's always a sad moment for everybody. This is not politics. This is not, pointing fingers. It's just another sad day. And we have had this, like you said, 44 shootings so far this year. And, each time we always say, we hope this is the last time, but it's never the last time. Because you never know, somebody who has some ulterior motive, this particular shooter actually bought a gun legally. So it's not a case of an illegal gun or a teenager who might have stolen gun from their parents and then used it. So it's very difficult to say this is what we need to do in order to prevent this stuff, and it's very hurting when it's innocent children, people who have nothing to do with the shooter, and they just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Um, so
And
when people say go.
yes, to think that he actually went to that site, with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, and there was even a smoke bomb there. So it's like a premeditated mission. It's something he set out to do, and quite unfortunately, he killed himself after that incident.
Well, I mean, I think it was best or better for him to have shot himself, because if he was cut alive, I think he was never gonna make it through the legal system. He was probably gonna get execution or a life sentence. So people that do this stuff, they usually have some mental issues. I think now we're gonna get into it's after the fact that this is we get into it, we do some research and investigation and say, oh, this is what happened. But how do we even see this thing coming so we can stop it? You go back to the history of all the shootings we've had, and nobody's ever come up. Psychologists will come in, the psychiatrists will come in, social welfare people will come in and say, this is what we need to do. It's not, let me be clear on this. Guns don't kill people. Bad people use guns to kill people. If you had a gun, you never fired it, it's not going to do anything. And so it has nothing to do with our Second Amendment rights, where people said ban all guns.
But whether one agrees or not, this incident actually is reviving that call for gun control in the U.S. So where exactly do you stand on the matter?
We've had all kinds of laws in the books about gun control. I mean, restricting it, making it harder for people who have certain, mental state or state, or some people have some prior convictions, not to get access to gun. But we could do all of that. There's always a loophole. There are always people, when they are determined to get access to gun, will get it. Either they buy it illegally, and then they're still going to do what it is they wanted to do with gun. So, the gun control is in there, but if the human beings don't adhere to those controls, nothing happens. We don't know what motivated this guy to do it. Now they say it's a hate crime because he's targeted a Catholic school. We'll see what the FBI and the federal prosecutors are going to come. But then, who are you going to charge? If the investigation, were to point that there were some other people involved in it, then they'll go after them. But if it's just a sole shooter who planned this thing and looked for the vulnerable loopholes or areas that he's going to do what he did, then there's nothing we're going to do. We're just going to pray that nothing like this happens again. But I can assure you it's going to happen, because there are a lot of people in America that have mental.
Yeah, okay, with mental problems, right? But then, aside the prayers, there is need for action. And I really do hope that, such propositions can come up, because as it stands now already, we're hearing of a parent of a 12-year-old pupil who is talking about their child's anxiety and reluctance to go back to school because the child actually thought she would die, while that incident, took place. So I'm wondering how badly you suppose this incident could affect children's psyche and interest in schooling, and what steps might be taken to prevent recurrence.
Well, it's what they call post-traumatic syndrome, after the fact. If somebody's ever been exposed to danger where they know they're going to lose their life, most people don't know how to handle it. They may have to go through counseling. They may have to say that I don't want to go to that side. Even adults sometimes, when things happen, then they get traumatized, and then they begin to feel, oh, I want to move away, I want to get away. But the world in America is full of danger. I can step out of my house, with a plan to go somewhere, and somebody in traffic may look at me and say, hey, why are you looking at me? But the next thing, bam, 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 what do you do? So it's just the nature of life we live here, and I'm hoping that something comes into the minds of people that do this, and they can pull back. But evil people are evil people. You never know who is planning something. In families, you know, we have people who kill their spouse, who kill their children because of one thing or the other. The police can't really do anything in this kind of stuff. Mostly police react after the fact. But if they have information before the fact, maybe they can prevent it. But most times it's after the fact. And it's a human nature, and that human nature, wickedness or evil intent is demonstrated with the occurrence of things we see all the time.
So let's see what investigations would throw up regarding this particular matter, and let's hope that somehow we are able to get leads as to keeping the community, keeping the society safe. Ejike Okpa is Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much for your time on World Now.
Thank you for having me.